Cobalt Drake, the super rare, super expensive Beyblade, has now got even easier and cheaper to get hold of with the introduction of Clear Drake, giving you a much higher chance of winning it on the Gacha app and even obtaining it through the second-hand market for a way more obtainable price. Now that this blade is getting way easier to obtain, I thought it's about time I give you the top 5 combination builds that you can bring to tournaments to dominate that stadium with Cobalt Drake. Whether it's Clear Drake or the original painted Drake, these combinations will help you get the best out of this blade. Now, this top 5 isn't just what I think. This has come from the WBO tournament data. I've gone through every tournament that has happened and I have taken the data for which combinations were used when Cobalt Drake placed in the top 1 to 4 places. And I'm going to lay out which the top 5 combinations used were. If you want to see a blade get into these top 5 combinations, drop a comment below of which blade you want to see. Whichever blade comes out most commented by the time I do the next video will be the one that I cover. So drop down below what you want to see. Personally, I want to do a Hell Scythe video, but if you guys have other things in mind, drop a comment below and I will aim to get those done. Let's start with 5th place. We have Cobalt Drake with the combination. This is a bit of a strange one, but 960 Elevate. Cobalt Drake is known to be a hard-hitting attacker, so to see it on a 960 Elevate is a bit different. 960 giving you the best burst resistance, the hardest of the bits to burst. 60 giving you a nice low height, helping to hit those ratchets and burst some bays. And then a combination that I've personally never seen, but it's appeared 2 times in the top 4 placing in WBO tournaments with the Elevate bit. Elevate, the balance type bit, which has got a unique mix of stamina and a bit of aggression. The problem with Elevate is that it can burst. Those who use it with Cobalt Dragoon will know it is a bit risky. It does happen to burst a lot of the time. But if you can keep that bit in, it is such a formidable bit, often outspinning things like Wizard Rod Ball, and it can hit surprisingly hard and get those pockets and extremes. An amazing bit if you can keep it in the blade. Cobalt Drake is a bit of a weird setup as it's quite a square blade, and to have it on a stamina balance bit is quite interesting. But it's topped twice. In 4th place, we have Cobalt Drake on a flat. Now this can be used with the ratchets 960 or 160. Both of those combinations appeared 2 times each. So 4 times overall, Cobalt Drake has won with flat. The ratchet is up to you. 960 is a bit more burst resistant, so it's a safer bet. But 160 helps you to hit harder, gives it a bit more aggression, and it's still relatively hard to burst. I rarely get burst on a 160. So for me, I would, if I'm using flat, which is quite an aggressive bit, I would be using it on a 160. But if you want to play it safe, use the 960. And then flat is perfect for those hard hitting attacks. The flat bit gives it crazy speed around the stadium, making it a beast in head-to-head clashes. It is fast, it is wild. You are at risk at self-KOing into the extreme or to the over finish. But if you land those hits, you can hit it hard. Personally, I would rather use a low flat. I would like it to get a bit lower, hit those ratchets a bit better. So in my footage that you're seeing, I've been using it on a low flat. The 3rd place most meta build for Cobalt Drake was Cobalt Drake on a 960 or a 560 point. Both of these combinations appeared 2 times each. So again, doesn't matter which of the combinations you use. 960s, again, a bit more burst resistant. 560s, a bit more aggressive. It's quite heavy. It is a bit more burst prone. It's still not too bad. And point is your perfect setup for a mix of stamina and for that heavy hitting attack. It's essentially like a flat, but it's got a little point in the middle. So your end game increases as you've got a bit more stamina on that point, but you still get those heavy attacks. An amazing bit, really versatile. Whether you're going for stamina or attack, this one's a solid all-rounder. Decent on a Cobalt Drake because Cobalt Drake likes to be a bit aggressive and attacking. And in 2nd place, another surprise entry, but this appeared a lot of times It is Cobalt Drake on a Hexa. For the ratchets, you've got two choices. The 960 Hexa appeared 5 times. The 360 Hexa appeared 4 times. So 9 times in total, these combinations appeared, placing 1st to 4th in WBO tournaments. That is a crazy stat. It's done really, really well. Hexa is an awesome piece. I really, really rate it as probably one of my top 5 bits. Holds the stadium really well, really hard to hit it out into pockets or extremes. Also had loads of stamina. It goes on for ages. It's obviously not as good as a ball or free ball, but it does hang in there above a lot of other bits. It's also really good at getting those rebound finishes, so you could be sitting in the middle of the stadium, get hit with an attack, and it will just rebound the other blade into the pocket or over. I always have a Hexa in my main deck, usually on a wizard rod or a silver wolf, something stamina based. I find it's a bit safer for the burst, but also has a little bit of attacking capability. The only problem with Hexa is if you don't launch it right, if you launch it a bit too much of a tilt, that thing goes wild and it will fly around the stadium. So you have to get used to using that Hexa bit. But once you get used to it, an amazing bit. And your first place meta build for Cobalt Drake is Cobalt Drake on a rush bit. Now again, you've got two choices of ratchets for this. 960 if you want to keep it safe and more burst resistant, and 560 if you want a bit more attacking prowess. These appeared 7 times for 960, 6 times for 560, a total of 13 times. This combination with rush appeared in the top 4 placements on the WBO tournament. Crazy, crazy setup, really good stats. If you've seen one of my recent videos, you will have seen I had a dragon only deck where I had Impact Drake, Cobalt Dragoon and Cobalt Drake. And Cobalt Drake actually did really, really well that day, much better than Impact Drake. And I used it on a rush, so I can attest that this is a really good combination setup. Rush is one of the most versatile attacking pieces out there. It's got 10 gears, so the extreme dash is a bit more controlled. It has plenty of stamina comparison to other attacking bit. It also does hit massively hard when it does hit that rail and hits the other Beyblade. Really strong attacker, decent stamina. If I had to choose one bit to use as my only bit, it would always be rush. It's my favorite bit. With the introduction of low rush, we may now see this tier list change as people start to use low rush more. I personally think Cobalt Drake on low rush is a bit better, again, to get it a bit lower and hit that ratchet. But that is your number 1 combination. Cobalt Drake, 60 height, on a rush. Go use it and win some tournaments. That's the end of the video. What do you guys think of that top 5? Do you guys use anything else? I don't mind Cobalt Drake. It does all right. It's not a bad bay. A lot more people are going to get hold of Clear Drake as it's more accessible. So I hope this video helped. If you like this type of video, if you want to see a top 5 for every Beyblade, let me know. My plan is to do top 5 for every single Beyblade release. I'm starting today on Cobalt Drake. You guys can decide what's next. I'll catch you in the next one.